Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. Oh man, new time! Feels weird. I got up this morning and I was like, wait, why is the sky on fire? It's been a really long time since I have woken up when the sun was actually out. But here we are! New schedule! Let's see what I can do with it. So for today, the main thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to go start on the border. If I get sick of working on the border, I think I'll go draw her hat. But at least right now, I think her face is looking pretty cute. I might go touch it up a little bit, but I just wanted to get started on cleaning up the border. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Odds are, I'll tweak it at some point. I almost always do. It's just one of those things, you know? But that is also why I like to get the face done early, so that this way I have plenty of time to just stare at it. Just stare at it and make sure that I still like it. So let's see, for this border... You know, thinking about it, I think I should actually do the flowers first. I changed my mind. I was gonna do the branches first, but I think I'm actually gonna do the flowers first. And I think getting those right... Yeah, as always, I tend to like to work on the things in front before I do the things in back. Pretty much the exact opposite of what a traditional painter would do, because it means that I know which areas I really have to pay attention to in the back. And oh man, my throat is a little bit scratchy and sore today. The allergies have been bad. And I'm also still a bit jet-lagged from completely, like, reversing my sleep schedule and being awake during the day like a normal person. So, I am still just a little bit out of it. Here, let me refresh myself on what cherry blossoms look like. Give me just a moment. Always good to look up reference when you're not entirely sure. Yeah, they got that kind of quality. Okay, and then the little tiny dent at the top. Alright, yeah. I got it all right. But still, it's good to look. And then once I know what these flowers will look like, I can go in and just finish all the things. So here, I'm mostly just focusing on the general shape still. I'm putting shadows to kind of help me separate each of the blossoms. Let me see, how do they kind of get together here? Yeah, okay, so when I look at the reference, this is the kind of important thing to really look at when you're looking at references. I'm looking at how close together each blossom is, and I was noticing that they do not actually really overlap like I was having it. So I think that some of my petals are a little bit too large. So I'm gonna thin them out just a bit here, and hopefully that will get the shape that I like. And then I have some kind of overlapping each other over here. I'm just gonna kind of focus on one at a time. And if I end up erasing a bunch of stuff that I need to redraw later, that is okay. All of these things had to exist early on, just so that this way I could get a good understanding of what the final border would actually look like. So I do often erase many of the things that I drew. This is very normal. Actually, it's normal in a lot of things too. I was remembering a couple of days ago, I've been feeling super jet-lagged due to rotating my schedule around, so I haven't been able to do as much as I would like lately. But I was like, you know what? The story for this comic that I'm working on, I really want it to exist. I can write 100 words. I can do that much. Right? Like, come on. That's like less than the average role-playing post that I would write. So I can totally force out 100 words. And I did. I did. Then the next day I went back and read it, didn't like what I wrote, deleted all of it, and was like, you know what? I'm glad I wrote those 100 words, because now I know that that particular idea that I wanted to go with wasn't a very good idea. Or rather, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But I don't think I would have realized that until I actually wrote it down. And that's kind of the purpose of some of these sketchier parts, where it's just about getting ideas down, and it's not really a problem if you go back and erase it later. I needed all this here just so I could see what I would be drawing. I'm still gonna leave things a little bit messy. Everything gonna be a little bit messy for a little while. I could probably make these slightly less pink. But nah, I like that color. That color's fine. Let me see, do I have a reference of some of the buds here? Yes, I do. Excellent. So, yeah, just kind of round, a little bit lighter at the top. Okay. Honestly, the shape that I have right here for the bud, pretty much exactly right. Put in a little shadow part there, and it'll be perfect. Still not entirely sure how I'm gonna shade all this yet, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just gonna go focus on the overall shapes for a little while. Get some nice silhouettes in. Make sure that these shapes make me happy. There we go. That's probably a little bit cleaner than it needs to be, but that's fine. Okay, I do want this one here, but right now it's getting in the way of me figuring out the shapes of all these other ones around it, so it's gonna get cleared for now. And I will go add another layer here and just doodle some stuff in just to remind myself that, you know, this needs to exist. Okay, there we go. Normally, I don't feel the need to do that, but my memory has been, like, super off lately, so I don't trust myself. But if I see a hidden layer in my layer stack, even if it doesn't have a name, I'm gonna be like, wait, what is that? Oh, I forgot to draw something. Just in case. Just in case. It's okay, I can forgive myself for being super off this week. Hopefully I'll be fine by next week. Being off kind of sucks, but it's okay, it had to be done. Daughter's starting school and I'm very excited. Very, very excited for all that. And terrified. This is basically gonna be the first time she's out on her own, and I will not be there to help. So, it is both exciting and terrifying. But she's gotta go out into the world on her own at some point, so... here we go. Tiny humans, they really do grow up way too fast. I've been feeling it, because sometimes my kids still want me to pick them up and, like, swing them around and bounce them around on my legs and whatnot, and I'm just like, man, when did you guys get so heavy? I am not strong enough for this. Okay, and... I actually don't think I can do that. I was gonna say, the rotation on this... I don't like it. It's too similar to this one, but then I realized, oh no, I'm doing a symmetrical border. I have my symmetry tool running down the middle so that this way this will be mirrored on the other side, but I do a selection and a rotation here. It's not gonna apply on the other side. Okay. I gotta drop manually. Okay, I know exactly what to do. We're gonna take this, I'm gonna lower the opacity. Actually, no, I'm not gonna lower the opacity. I'm gonna keep it at 100% and I'm gonna invert the colors. Then I'm gonna draw on a new layer and try to get the same thing just at the angle that I actually want it to be. Hopefully get something a little bit nicer. Like, these two, they're like identical and I hate it. I hate it. Need to be some variation here. Come on! Otherwise everything's gonna look the same and boring, and that's just the angle I apparently draw cherry blossoms at. Nah, can't have that. Not at all. So I'll draw the same thing just at this angle. As much as I would love to just rotate it, I gotta make sure that it is properly mirrored on the other side. And if I use a selection here, then it will not be mirrored on the other side. As selections only apply to the pixels that exist in the selection. And the pixels that are on the other side of the border will not exist within the selection. And even if they did, if I tried to rotate them together, they would not be symmetrical anymore. So, I'm gonna do it like this. This should do what I want. Honestly, it looks pretty cool like this. I might do something like that. Like, unironically. I might keep the one in the back. Cherry blossoms have leaves. They do, right? No, not really. Okay, well, this is why you look at reference. So that this way, you can know what things exist, so yes. It's okay. I should have a similar effect to that when I go put that layer that I erased back in. Okay, now I erase the original, we fix the colors, and I merge this guy back down. There we go. Now I have a thing that is facing a more interesting direction. Okay. And my past self said that this is where this blossom is going to go, so I'm going to take her word for it. And I'll do it like this, because I think it'll look interesting. I'm not going to be able to see it all in that purple there. That's okay. I don't think I really need to see very well at the moment. When I go and more thoroughly clean this, seeing will be a little bit more important, but this is fine for now. Put a nice big one here. Maybe a couple of little ones on top, like. Put just a little guy right here. Just a little guy. Maybe a couple more little guys. Just around. Nah, I don't like that one. I actually don't like this one either. I like the idea of a little one, just not right there. Maybe over here where it's being like half overlapped. I'll put in a few different colors to make this kind of thing look nice. And I'm still kind of exploring all the little shapes I can use, so everything's gonna be messy for a while longer. But it's okay. Everything will get neatened up when it suits me. Which is gonna be some point in the near future, hopefully. A little bud over here, and maybe a couple more little guys up here. Okay, that should be good. I don't know why I started up here instead of up here, but I did. It doesn't really matter where I start. I'll draw everything at some point. Okay, I can merge these together now. Alright. Let's get this big old center one now. How do I want you to look? You're in the middle, so this one's important. I think something like this should look good. Kind of funny, this one looks almost butterfly-like. Appropriate, I think. Given who I'm drawing. Alright. So even though things are gonna stay pretty messy for a while, I am trying to get it at least somewhat clean, so that this way I can better see things, and, you know, I'm trying to be at least relatively nice to my future self, you know? Make it so she won't have too much work to do to clean all this up. Because here I'm officially in rendering mode. So this is where things slow down, and I really have to make sure that I get everything looking exactly the way I want it to. This is where everything gets finalized. Okay. And I have some little buds out here. Looks like they're just kind of starting to bloom. I think that's what I was going for there. And then there's like gonna be a dark spot right here, where you see some of the little flowers starting to flower. And then I think this guy is just a tiny little bud. Put a little dark spot in there, make it clear what direction it's facing. And just a couple of other little guys here. This one looks like another one that's just starting to bloom. So I'll put its middle right there. Something like that. That's probably clean enough for now. I'll put a couple of other little guys around here. Just some little ones. And maybe a smaller flower, like right there. Gonna try to change the angle on this one a little bit. So the size of its petals are gonna be a little bit different than what I've been doing. This one's gonna be kind of on top. Yeah, I think that looks pretty alright. Let me zoom out, make sure I haven't changed anything too much. I'll probably be zooming out here a little bit more than I was when I was rendering her face. Because here I've only decided the gist of how certain things are gonna look. This is the point where I'm actually going in and making the final decisions. Which is always scary. And so I gotta zoom out occasionally and make sure that the decisions that I've made are actually good decisions. It's like you can trust yourself somewhat, but you know, verify. Always verify. Because I have drawn many things that have seemed like a good idea in the moment, and then I go look at it and I'm just like, oh no. That wasn't a good idea at all. So believe, but verify, always. And then I want to get the appearance that some are underneath others and all that, and you can see my symmetry tool working here. So this way I only have to draw one half of it. Saves me a lot of work. It's very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Let's see. I feel like this branch is still just a little bit bare, so I'm gonna put some small ones here. I get the feeling that today is just going to be working on this, just because it's going to take a while to draw all these flowers. You know, I remember back in December, I was working on one that had just a ton of little flowers on it, and I asked myself, why did I decide to draw this many flowers? What possessed me to make this decision? And then I saw the end and I was like, oh yeah, because it looks really good. And, and now I'm here again. Drawing a whole ton of little flowers. It keeps happening. I can't say no. I can't say no to the little flowers. They just look too nice. They do. So I wouldn't be surprised if I spent multiple drawing sessions just drawing flowers. I am prepared to go slightly insane again. I think it happens every time I draw a bunch of little flowers like this. It's fine. It'll be worth it at the end, or so I tell myself. Okay, I think that's all good. What was I even doing over here? I do not know what this blob is supposed to be. Oh, that's okay. At the time I drew it, it didn't really matter what it was, as long as it covered the space that it was supposed to. Okay, what direction do I want this one to face? Because a lot of them are kind of facing the same direction, and I think it's getting a little bit boring. So let's see, what do I want to do with this one? I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do something a little bit different. Choices are hard. Perspective is harder. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna kinda... Let's define the center first. It's gonna be like right here. And I'm gonna draw some dark blossoms, kind of doing this kind of thing. These are gonna kind of go into the background. Just follow me here. I got something in my head. We'll see if I can actually draw it. And then I want the lighter ones to kind of come on top. So this way, it looks like it's facing like this direction. Like it's twisted that way. Yeah. I think that looks pretty good. That's totally workable. Just gotta think in terms of front and back. Okay. Let's get a tiny bud, like right here. Just a tiny little guy. A couple more. Actually, I'm not gonna give that one a dark center. I'm gonna let it make it look like it's kind of folded over. And so the center of the bud will be on the other side. That should be good. I'll draw a couple of small ones around here. I'll just get some little guys in here. You know, when I started stream today, I was figuring that I was going to go ahead and draw some branches and maybe work on her hat. If I had known that I was going to change my mind immediately and start on flowers, I would have mentioned something about entering flower hell because, oh man, there's so many flowers. I'm already feeling it. Already feeling it. Oh man. It's okay. They're very pretty. I like them a lot. I'm gonna put a little one over here. And what do I want to do up here? I'll put some more little ones in. I guess this one's gonna be a little bit bigger. Trying to put it at a slightly different angle than the one over here, but similar idea. Put in a few tiny ones here, maybe a little tiny bud right there where we see the middle. Slightly larger one over here. I just want to make sure that these branches are nice and full. Just look very lively and happy. Lots of pretty little flowers. I complain, but I really do enjoy drawing flowers. I complain because generally when I get started, I draw a lot. Like a lot, and then I have to go back and render them, and I'm just like, oh man, the start was great, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Send help. Oh boy, I think I may be a third of the way through. Yay! I'm gonna go skip to the bottom. I don't know why this always helps me feel better, but it does. It works every time. If I get sick of drawing one end, then if I skip to the bottom, I get renewed vigor. Or just skip around to some other random spot, I get renewed vigor. So I'm gonna use that brain hack and just keep going. This one is drawn terribly. That's okay. A lot of them are drawn terribly right now. That's why I'm drawing them right again. Very important. But also normal. It's like, look, whenever I sketch stuff out, it generally looks kind of bad. But that's an important step. I gotta spend a bunch of time just getting my ideas down. And that's why I go back over it later and make it not look bad. Oh, the good news is that this one, if I decide I want to move it downward a little bit, I can, because this one's in the middle. And therefore I don't have to worry quite as much about its reflection. Because I do think I want to move it down just a little bit. I want it to be covering... assuming I actually get the entire flower. Here we are. There we go. I want it to be covering where the branch splits down here. So I do want it like this low. And I'll erase a bunch of the other flowers down here. That's totally fine. They will get drawn again when the time is right. I feel like today's theme is just, if you're tired and don't feel like doing something, it's fine. Just do something anyway. And just do some of the things that are either super brain dead or, just force something out. And if it's bad, your future self will back you up and he'll fix it up for you. It'll be okay. But you can help your future self by doing at least a little bit today, even if you're not feeling great. Because trust me, those like 150 words or so that I wrote on that day, I was super jet lagged and couldn't do anything. They really did help. Because I was able to go through the next day and be like, yes, I actually know what I want to do with this plot point now. Even though I deleted all of the words, it did help clarify what I wanted to do. And here, even though I'm deleting most of these flowers, they told a very important story of where the final ones were gonna go. And now my present self, the future self to my past self, knows what to do. And I can just happily go in and draw a whole bunch of lovely flowers. And all is well. The center of this one's probably going to be like right there, so send it out like this. No, I actually don't like it there. I changed my mind. I think I want it to be over here, where the center is like right there. Okay, sure, this is thinner than I was expecting, but maybe it's at an angle. Unironically, yes. Hooray! Okay. And then there's like another one doing something like that, and then we see a little bit of this guy sticking out here. And right now I'm drawing some of these ones on a new layer because they're going to be underneath this middle blossom. And I don't feel like having to pull a bunch of shenanigans to redraw certain parts of it. So I'm doing it like this. This is going to make my life a little bit easier. So I'll do it. Embrace layers, they will help you. Or as long as, or I should say, embrace layers as long as they do help you. Because I admit, my baby artist self, if I attempted to do any kind of layer management, I always had a bad time. So, my early self did not actually use layers like at all. I drew on one layer. 90% of the time, and then I'd add, like, another one for color, because I drew in black and white at first. And then after that, I'd merge it all together and draw in one layer again. I just found it easier. I had a really bad time with managing layers, so I just didn't do it. But now I can do it, and I find it just lets me make changes on the fly so much more easily. And lets me keep my process super spontaneous and chaotic and weird. And I appreciate that greatly. I like just being able to try things. Life is wonderful when I can just get an idea and see if it works. And just cut my pictures to pieces and piece them back together in various ways. Overuse the liquify tool. And occasionally my old self of drawing things on one layer resurfaces. Like all these flowers are going to be on one layer. And I'm just going to render them like that. I think it'll be easier than keeping like 5 different layers for various areas of flowers and stuff. Hold on. Got a cough. My throat's been a little bit scratchy today. Ah. Phew. The allergies here have been kind of bad lately. My poor kids have been having trouble too. That's okay. Fortunately, we have some medicine for them. So, they're okay. But man, it's been a bit rough. Yeah. It's definitely been a bit rough. Ah. I feel like I got a frog stuck in my throat. It's the worst. Alright, I got it. I think. Okay. I think I want to keep this part open. So let's go put a few little buds over here. Keep them simple. But hopefully by the end of this, I will know roughly the location of every flower, and then we can begin the rendering process. Okay, how are we looking so far? Pretty good. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with this. So I guess I'll start working my way back up the side here, and eventually we'll meet up again with the parts that I did on the top. Oh boy. I just look at this and I'm like, oh man, why are there so many? Okay, I think I'm actually gonna go work on her hat for a bit. I need a break from flowers. No, it's good that I decided to start them early. Because now I can just go and do something else for a little while. Alright, let's make the lines on her hat look nice. Let's go do that. This is actually pretty normal for what I do. It's just like, okay, I've been rendering flowers for 30 minutes. I want to go look at something else for a little while. It is time. But that's where it's good to do these things early. And I was going slightly crazy rendering flowers on that one drawing that I mentioned from a fairly long time ago. The distant land of last December. I might have saved them for last. I might have, like, finished the entire character first. And Thus, I was out of other things to work on, and I just had to power through the flowers. Oh man, that was rough. Like I said, I do like drawing flowers, but it's nice to break them up with some stuff. Because for as much as I do enjoy drawing flowers, I greatly prefer drawing people. I love drawing characters. It's my favorite. So, it's nice to be able to break up the monotony of flower drawing with some character. Even if it is all just basically the same thing, I'm just going in and putting in the lines now and making all the lines around the hat look nice. It's gotta be done. Rendering for me is very much a slow and steady wins the race here. just gotta go. Just gotta go. But it's okay, because this is the point where everything starts looking really good, and that's always very satisfying. And here I'm just noticing a couple of spots where the hat's not super smooth. And I had to look up for a second to make sure I turned off the symmetry tool because that could have been bad. I've done that before, where I just accidentally leave my symmetry tool on. And then suddenly I'm making a perfect mirror of everything that I'm doing in some random place, and I don't see it for a long time. Always very unfortunate. So right now I'm trying to compare the thickness of the lines on the hat to the thickness of the lines in her hair. And at least trying to get the outer ones to be about the same width. I think right now I actually still have them a little bit thin. Let's go ahead and thicken them up a little bit. And then the ones that kind of go on the inside, that are just kind of gonna mark the difference between shadows and highlights, those ones are gonna be a little bit thinner. Like this guy. This guy's gotta be a little bit thinner. Alright. And you know what? The color's a little bit hard to see with the current hat color, which means it is time to invert the colors. So that this way I can see clearly. And indeed, it is so much easier to see now. Alright. So I will just happily align all this now, and I no longer feel blind. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. Phew. I'm still... Yeah, I'm still feeling the jet lag somewhat from rotating my sleep schedule around and actually being awake during daylight hours again. It has actually been a pretty long time since I've been awake. Like, at this time, on my old sleep schedule, I'd be going to bed in probably about 2 hours. It's kind of funny to think about. So my brain is very much adjusting to all this. Ooh, this spot's going to be kind of interesting, where I have to go from the thin interior line to the thick exterior line. I think that'll look pretty cool once I can actually get it right. Let me get that nice, juicy exterior line going. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that in a few places. Okay. Let's just get those big ol' exterior lines for a little bit, and then I'll worry about how I want to have them feed into each other. But I determined that this was about the line thickness that I want, I think. Oh. Looking at her hair again. No, this is a little bit too thick. There we go. That's a little bit more accurate. I swear, every time that I do something like this, I get a little bit of newfound respect for people that are really good at line art. I've always said, if you want to appreciate something that someone else is doing, try to do it yourself, and it'll always be much harder than you expect. If you have no idea what you're doing. Now I'm just like, here I am, doing something that I tried to avoid learning how to do for so long, because I didn't like doing lines. I was generally not very good at them. And now I am making myself learn. Also, being over in this corner reminds me that I wanted to change the shape of this bit of hair. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do that right now before I forget again. So let's see, how did I want to do that? I wanted it... I just didn't like how it's, like, concave here. I think it looks a bit weird. I'll go ahead and put a little bit more color here. Let me actually hide the outlines for a second. It'll look weird for a second, but that's okay. I will fix all the colors momentarily. I just want this to do something a little bit more like that, as opposed to the shape that I had before. Now I'm going to kind of meld these two areas together. Okay, now I'm going to put the outlines back. I am going to redraw this outline here. This one's very much gotta move. Gotta be out here like this now. But it'll be no problem at all. Okay, and then I come out here. I don't really feel like I have to adjust any of the interior outlines here. Maybe just this guy a little bit. But the rest of this, I think, looks fine. And now I can fix the colors. And I might have to go back and touch up outlines in a few places, that's fine. But I do think that this shape looks a little bit better. So it's a small change that I think was very much worth it. It's always amazing to me how big of a difference some of these small changes can make. But I do think her hair looks a little bit bouncier and more excited like this. I think it looks nice. Okay, there we go. No problem. Back to the hat. Back to the hat. Where are you, hat layer? There you are. By the way, I still haven't updated Krita. I keep meaning to do it, but then I never do. Oh, man. Brains are silly. I've been feeling a little bit out of it this week, so I'm not surprised that I keep forgetting to do so. And I get the feeling that I will forget to do so again, because my daughter wants to go to the park, and I'll probably take her to the park after stream. So the odds of me forgetting again are very high. Just kind of what it is sometimes. Get off stream, and then I'm just there thinking about the next 20 things I have to do for the day. What are you? You're not an outline, so what are you? Are you a hole? Do I just have to fill in something here? You are a hole. Okay. That works for me. Okay. Just saw a random spot that wasn't looking super great. And turns out there was just a spot that didn't have color. That's not surprising, considering I just put the ruffles on a different layer because it was convenient. Just saying that I changed the shape of the hat a little bit, so now I got a couple of spots that need to be filled in. And I want to do that now. Not because I think I'll forget this time, but because I didn't like staring at it. In my mind, the hair is done, so there should be no spots that I dislike looking at. And when there are, there's just a cognitive dissonance that drives me a little bit insane. So I'm very likely that anytime I see an error with anything that is in the area that I consider done, I probably just want to go back and fix it almost immediately. I still haven't decided if I want to fix certain aspects of her face and eyes and stuff. Otherwise, I probably would have jumped immediately on those two. Alright, so I feel like I have most of the thicker outer part done. Now I can kind of go back and do the slightly thinner inner part. And try to see how I want them to feed in to the thicker part. So even though I've compared this to doing line art, I do consider it fundamentally different than line art. Because what I'm doing here is I am deliberately trying to make the image a little bit flatter. I want it to look more like stained glass than, I don't know, what a typical anime illustration might be going for. I am not trying to make her look super three-dimensional. I want it to look like something that would be up on a wall. So I don't have a lot of line variation. I mean, there's a little bit. My line variation is less where light and shadow fall and more, is this the edge of something going into the something else, or is this in the middle of an object? So here, because this is the edge of the ruffles, I'm making the line a bit thicker. But because this is the inside of the ruffles right here, I'm making the line a little bit thinner. And even within each category, I'm trying to keep the line a fairly consistent shape, and it's taken, like, all my self-control to not make areas that I think should be in shadow a little bit thicker. Because that's just everything that I have learned about line art in the past. It just doesn't apply here. Going for something completely different. And I think that's something that's pretty fun about various styles. You kinda have to think about the goal that you're going for with this particular style. And in this case, the goal is... how do I describe it? The reason that I wanted to develop this style was to have a style for the webcomic that I'm working on. And that is a story about heroes, basically. So I kind of wanted to go for something that looks like it would be from out of a myth or a legend. And stained glass was kind of what came to mind for me. So that's where the idea came from, and I like it. I like it a lot. If I can get to the point where I can draw this, or at least something similar to it pretty fast, you can bet that I'm going to use it. And I'm very excited to do so. That's been the thing that I've been the most worried about with my comic, though. I am not a fast artist. I do not draw things fast. And if I want to draw a comic, I have to draw faster than I do. So I've been practicing speed. Not with this. Not with this drawing specifically, but off stream. I have indeed been practicing speed. I haven't done my weekly speed paint for a while. I took a break for a while because it was taking up a lot of time and there was something else that I wanted to work on at the time. But now there really isn't, so I might pick it back up again. And just get used to drawing people. Maybe do one where I just focus on drawing the person with no backgrounds, because I have been drawing many a background with my speed paints, and that is perhaps not a good idea. Trying to do a little bit too much of the speed paints, especially when what I want to work on is drawing people quickly. I actually think drawing backgrounds quickly is I can already do that. I did have a series of speed paints that I did where I would draw a silhouette of the person or a person from the back, and then just focus on making a cool background with some cool colors. And I thought those are good. I liked those. Those were more of a painterly style. Still up on all of my social media, if you guys are ever curious about what I'm talking about, but I enjoyed those a lot. So yeah, you know, thinking about it, I think I already can speed paint backgrounds to an extent. Maybe not in this style, but to an extent. So yeah, I guess doing the occasional speed paint of just a person. Don't worry about the background, maybe put a shadow under their feet if I'm feeling spicy. And just do that. I might start doing that. Maybe I'll draw some other VTubers. That sounds fun. Unfortunately, I missed Mermaid because I was busy doing a bunch of other things, but I don't need a special month to do an art challenge. I can do it whenever I want. Oh yeah, while I'm thinking about those drawings that I did wanting to speed paint backgrounds and stuff, I ran them through one of those things that tries to determine if the thing was drawn by a human or an AI. And on a lot of those, it was really convinced that it was drawn by an AI. Those detectors are so bad. It's hilarious. I kind of figured that it would, just because, you know, they were drawn very quickly with a very loose and kind of blurry style, because, you know, they were drawn quickly. I didn't go out of my way to render it fast. I generally drew them in like 2 hours or so. So they end up being a little bit more blurry. And I get the feeling that's what the detector was trying to pick up. So I just thought that was funny, that people going out of their way to try to determine if something is AI or not, and making rude comments to people as a result. It's a wild world. Alright, let's get some of these colors in now. I will probably adjust some of the lines after I put in some of these colors, because I do think I want to put some thin lines around all the color changes. I tried that on the hair and I thought it looked really good. So I think I will continue doing that. But first I want to get those colors in. Use the lines that I've drawn and then some things that I think will just look nice. So the goal here is just to put a little bit more three-dimensionality onto her hat here. And like some of these I think are going to get gradients. Hello there, Anubis. Nice to see you again. I'm working on a hat. Actually, more accurately, I'm procrastinating from drawing a million flowers. You're procrastinating on drawing a million flowers or drawing a hat? Ah, I see. Well, good luck with your stream. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, how do I want to handle the area under the hair? I think I'm actually gonna put some shadows here. Her hair should be pretty far away from the hat, so I'm not gonna put any shadows on this side. Maybe I'll do a gradient on that side. But I will put some down here. I'm not exactly sure which part of this is hat ruffles and what is not. That's okay. Let's see here. I just want to make sure... Okay, yeah, I don't have to clean up the edge of that. This is fine. Alright, let's go put some shadows under her hair here. Let's go make this look nice. Yeah, I don't like any of that, actually. I changed my mind. Let's draw that again. No, the way that I had the light going, it should be on this side of the strand. So it should be more like this. There we go. I think that looks pretty nice. Okay. Yep, I think that's all I want to do for the shadows there. And the rest will come later. Let's go ahead and finish lining the ruffles. And then I'm gonna go back to working on the flowers. These ones are gonna be nice and small and light. And I will probably have to go back in and fix the colors based on where I draw these lines, but that's okay. I just wanted to put in the colors first to give myself a reasonable guideline for where to draw these smaller lines. Okay, let's see. Do I want to put a shadow there? I don't think so. I think, yeah, I think just a gradient will be perfect. All right. Go fix the parts that need to be up against the lines here. there were only a few spots, so oh, I actually missed a line. So it should be no trouble at all here. Alright, now then. Gradient. This time I'm gonna remember to grow the selection by a pixel before I start adding my other stuff. Oh, no, I definitely do not want the gradient on the hat outline layer. Definitely do not. It needs to be on the ruffle layer. There we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna go through. I select an area, grow the selection, go back to the other layer, and then add in the little bit of extra color I want in a couple of areas. Just to give it a little bit more oomph, I guess. Make it look nicer. It's worked like every time. I've really liked the way that it's looked. And I still just like kind of hand painting the gradients. So I will keep doing that. And I do wish that Krita would stop scrolling all the way back down to the bottom. I don't know why it does that. I know it's something to do with panning. But sometimes I need to pan before I start drawing again. And I wish it would stop. I'm so sad. I've never had problems with this program. I don't know why it's suddenly doing this to me. Okay. Then over here. Actually, that's fine, I guess. A little bit weird, but I think it'll do what I want it to do. Select, grow 1 pixel, and now I can make this area a little bit darker. Okay. And now I want to get a little bit of stuff on some of these dark spots. I think I'm just going to do them all at once. And I will make these parts just a little bit lighter on a couple of little spots here. There we go. Alright, I think that looks nice. And now that I've done some stuff on the hat, I'm gonna stop procrastinating and I'm gonna go draw some more flowers. Flower time again! Let's go! Oh boy. Man, there's so many. There's so many flowers. Okay. But God do it. I was the one that decided to draw all the flowers, so I cannot complain that I decided to draw all the flowers. Or rather, I can, but it's rather silly to do so. It's like I could go erase them all right now if I wanted to, but I don't want to, so I had to draw some flowers. Time to draw some flowers. Just all the flowers. Flowers for all eternity. Flowers forever and ever. Sometimes I feel like background details are like anime hair in that you draw a little bit thinking of like, oh yeah, that looks great. And then it comes time to render it. And it's just, you're going to be doing it for all eternity. It'll never end. I don't think it's a bad thing. I will whine about it, though. I normally do. Even when drawing on my own, I'm just like, oh my god, why did I decide to draw so many flowers? Past self, why do you hate me so much? No, it's okay, it's for the best. It's gonna look great in the end, and then I'll be like, heck yeah. Drew a bunch of pretty flowers, and they look pretty. Exactly as things should be. Oh shoot, I didn't turn on my mirroring. Oh no. Easy to fix. I will do that right now though, because all I gotta do is grab the ones that I drew, copy, layer, transform, mirror horizontally, and down they go. There we go. And now things are symmetrical again. Not around here, but that's okay. I will kind of start getting the shape right here again. And then I will take a gander at the other side and see what I have to clean up in order to get them to properly mirror each other. See, everything's fine. All is well. You know what, sure, for a change of pace, I'll draw on this side. I've been drawing on the other side, so maybe this will make everything feel a little bit less tedious. If I'm lucky. So, here I'm preparing. Because I know that the flower I'm going to draw after this one is going to be sitting on top of this one. I see it, the little pattern of it, right there, and I know exactly what my past self was thinking. I know my patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw with the dark color immediately. And shape this blossom just the way I want it, and then I will go ahead and draw right on top. So I think the center of it was like right here. Thinking about it, I should just fill in the whole thing with dark for now, and I will go make it a good color later. Probably much later. Probably when I go do the final version. Okay, I think that should be fine. Okay, I think this point is the halfway point. And considering that I've already done a little bit on the bottom, I think I might be a little bit more than halfway through. Maybe. I hope. Okay, this is what the creative process is all about. You go through, you do a bunch of fun stuff, and then suddenly it's time to finish it. And it's like, oh no. I drew all these nice things, and now I have to make them look nice. How could this happen? I don't like the angle of this one. Let me go make it nicer here. I just want it to kind of peek out a bit. Just a little bit. And then I'll go out a couple more little buds here and there. I'm at 133%. No wonder everything looks bad. Maybe just a tiny little flower here. He's just coming out of his little bud. Yeah, just a tiny little guy. All right. So here I'm going to start with the big one again. All right, what do I want to do with you, big guy? I don't know, the way you're pointing, I kind of dig it, so I'm gonna kind of keep that. I can't go off the edge, though. I want it to be able to remain transparent, so I can't go off the edge. So this one, just the way I drew it, I do not think it's what my past self was going for, but it's what I saw here, so I'm gonna stick with it. I saw one tilted kinda this direction in my mind's eye. And I think it looks nice, so here we are. We're gonna tilt this one this way. And it'll be great. Huzzah. And then I have some room for some other little guys here. Go ahead and put a shadow here just so I can draw on top of it more easily. And maybe this one is tilted this direction a little bit. Don't mind the mess. It'll get better. Always does. But things are going to be a little bit messy for a little while. Just how it is. While I kind of experiment and figure out exactly how all this is going to go. Because I, strictly speaking, didn't really have any of this rendered before. I just kind of had some basic blobs where I knew I wanted to put flowers. And now I have to take the time to figure out what those flowers are actually supposed to look like. And that is always an adventure. And a little bit time consuming. There we go. I think I'm starting to see this flower in my mind now, so I think I understand it. So I think that's probably fine. And now I can go work on some of these other little guys that are kind of sticking out over here. I can see like 3 of them. And there's like a little bud here. I guess it's not a bud anymore, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be. It can be whatever it wants. And maybe another one right here. This is my little universe, so I can put things wherever I want them. And I think that works. You can kind of see the start of a flower down there. I think I can define it a little bit better once I start putting in lines. I think the lines are going to make everything much more clear. And do I want a little bud over there? Nah, I think all that's fine. I don't know what this is supposed to be. And thus, I go and I draw more flowers. More and more and more. like I do complain, but I really do like the way it looks. I do. I think all these little flowers look really, really nice. I don't want to zoom out just yet. I'm gonna make myself draw a little more before I let myself go zoom out and go, ah, those are some nice flowers. This one I'm getting a little bit nicer because it's all out on its own and therefore easy to understand. So I'm gonna go ahead and refine its shape a little bit more. Oh man, my poor throat. Kinda wish I could just easily move this little blossom over because I love his shape, but he's in a bad spot. So instead, let's see if I could scooch some of the other blossoms over just a tad. Okay, yeah, that's all I had to do, sweet. Alright, time for some more little buds and stuff. They just keep coming, but I do think that they look very nice. This one looks like one that's just starting to open to me, so I'll go ahead and draw it like that. Kinda like this. I'm enjoying this pattern quite a lot. I'm glad that I took a moment to figure out how it works. It's amazing what just a little bit of effort can do for your drawings. It's like, oh, it's not even that hard to do. But it does look nice. So, I'm glad that I did it. This one ended up being a little bit too much of a straight line, so I'm adding another little blossom right here to kind of break it up a little. And maybe like another little bud or something over here. Just to break up the line a little bit. Alright. Okay, I think I can let myself zoom out and take a look. Oh yeah, look at all those pretty flowers. Almost there, just got this little stretch to go. The last, I don't know, maybe like quarter. Actually, it's probably more like a third. So yeah, a little bit further than that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll probably take a break from flowers after that, and go work on the hat some more. Because after that, it's gonna be time to render and line all the flowers, and I'm just looking at that, and I'm like, oh god. That's gonna take like 80 years. But you know, it'll be 80 years well spent. It's fine. Flowers are great. Okay, man. I like this little flower already, though. I think it's pretty nice. But for everybody wondering how artists go and, you know, render all these little flowers like this, well, there's no secret. You just go out and do it. Yeah, just go do it. And it takes a long time. But the result is very pretty. So it tends to be worth it. But there's nothing special done or anything. It's just a lot of drawing. When it comes down to it, if you want something to exist in your picture, you just gotta draw it. But as you get better, you do get a little bit faster. I'm still fairly slow at drawing, but even I'm way faster than I was even a year ago. So, the speed comes with time. But first you gotta get good. And there's no way around that. So this one, I wanted to make it look like it's a little bud just starting to open. I'll go add some little bud features. And there we go. And then I saw that in my draft, I don't feel like doing this on the same layer. There was another little one down here. And I wish to keep him. And another little one over here. And I wish to keep this one too. Hello there, Art. I am just here drawing many flowers today. Going slightly crazy doing it, but that's okay. Flowers are great. Flowers are wonderful, just very time consuming. Yeah, I kind of like that. We'll let the little bud do something like this, I guess. Where all the little petals are kind of coming out, and we're seeing the top. I think that looks nice. I kind of want to put another little guy right over here. Right here is looking a little bit empty. So I'll put a little guy right here. Just a little guy. There we go. And I see here we've got two little buds together. And yeah, sure, I'll let them stay together. They can both happily exist right here. Okay. I can see the end. Look, I can see a spot that I've already rendered. Almost there. This is like the last major group. And then I will be free for a moment until it's time to go render it all properly. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. What is they? Okay, but what are you trying to draw? What are you trying to make look like something? What's the thing that you want to see? I'm just gonna keep shaping these petals. This one's nice and big. And I'm probably gonna erase a lot of the stuff around it. Yes, I am indeed making a flower. Making many flowers. Many little flowers. I do like drawing flowers. That's why it keeps happening. And I keep drawing many flowers. Okay, that should be fine. I'll go ahead and do these ones before I start kind of putting the ones that were over here back. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. This one is probably supposed to be a little bud, but I think I'm going to turn this one just into a regular little blossom. How do I know where to put the shadows? Right now, I'm not really putting down very many shadows, but when I do eventually do that, it's just a matter of thinking about where the light source hits. Let me go to another... Let me finish drawing this one, and then I'll go over to another place where I can explain it a little bit better. And this particular art style I'm working with is probably not the best to explain it with, because I do not... The lighting that I use is not very sensical. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's okay. So if I go back over to where her hat is, the light source that I see in my head is kind of hitting the center of her face. So it's kind of coming from above, kind of like, let me get a... Oh, I have the layer locked. So it's kind of doing this. And so that means that stuff on top... Let me... Yeah, sure, I'll do it over here. So this means stuff on top is gonna get hit by light, and stuff on the bottom is gonna be in shadow. So like here, like stuff on the bottom is gonna be in shadow, or her neck, or anything like that. And you can see that I have a little shadow spot over here, because I have this as like a front plane, and then this as a side plane. And that's how it looks like three-dimensionally. And because this one's a bit weird stylistically, I am not necessarily sticking with that 100%. As you can see that I'm using, like, nearly white lines here. Because I'm wanting to make this look more like stained glass. Oh no, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Here we are. So I'm doing it a little bit differently, and I'm breaking up where my shadows are a little bit differently. So yeah, light source is where it's at. Where the light hits, you make it light. Where the light doesn't hit, you make it dark. That's the most straightforward way to put it. And for this style specifically, I break it up in terms of planes a little bit more, where I decide this particular plane is gonna be light and this one is gonna be dark, because I'm making things intentionally look a little bit flatter. But if you want things to look three-dimensional, yes. Learning about light is where it's at. So you can see here that I have these little shadows from the hair where they're on the hat. And because, you know, my light source will be hitting the hair here, and then because the hair is in the way, it won't be hitting the hat, so the hat is darker there. Stuff like that. Or the edge of the hat here is, or, you know, the hat's not the best example. Let's do maybe the sleeve here, where, you know, the top of the sleeve, it's gonna be hitting the light, and the bottom of the sleeve is not. So, the bottom of the sleeve is darker. You don't have to be super fancy with it. And then because this is... what I draw is very anime. And you can get away with doing, like, pretty much anything you want with anime. So... so honestly, if you think something looks cool, you can do what you want. It spreads. Not quite sure what you're referring to. Like, I mean, like I said, the way I did hair here doesn't necessarily make that much sense with how I would normally shade things. But, all I really did, part in front, it got light, parts underneath other bits of hair, it's dark. Parts that are turning away from the light source, like here, and all the stuff in the back over here, they get dark. Part underneath the hat is dark. And then there's some shiny highlights that kind of go across the spots where the light hits the... where the light hits the hair and makes it look shiny. If you're able to, just like grab your hair and bend it and see what the light does. And that'll show you where those nice little specular highlights can go. I do not generally use separate layers for my shading, no. I can. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. The number of layers you use doesn't really matter. Layers are just a tool to help you. Alright, I guess I'll go and clean all this up while I'm here. We'll just go ahead and perfect the hat while I'm over here and it's convenient. Like, I guess I know some people say that you can use, like, multiply layers and stuff. That is a thing you can do if it helps. I don't. Varies on the drawing. For me... oh, man. No, it varies too much of the drawing. Like, I can do speed paints and finish them in under an hour, but I'd say on average, I'm probably gonna be spending a good week on here. Like, this one... I'm already on part 11, and if I'm going for 2.5 hours, that's gonna mean it's been over 20 hours since I've been working on this one. And that's pretty normal for me. Just because I am pretty slow at drawing. You just go until it's done. I wouldn't worry about how long it takes you. And if you're a beginner, then it'll probably take you even longer. Drawings take as long as they take. All there is to it. There's no real shortcuts here. You just go until it's done. How do I want to handle the rest of these little shadows here? Am I satisfied with all my lines? I think this line's a little bit thin, so I'm gonna go thicken this just a little bit more. Here we go. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And I'm gonna have to clean up over the hat here, but that's fine. Just thought there was a little bit too thin, and now I can clean that up and carry on. Because that's what I'm going for stylistically. It's meant to kind of resemble stained glass. And if you're doing like actual line art, I would not recommend doing it like this because it will flatten your image. But that's what I'm going for this particular style. I deliberately want the image to look a little bit flat. So that is just me doing something weird. And I think this entire area I'm just gonna put in shadow. Yep, that looks fine. Alright, let's go ahead and line those shadows now. See, this is, again, maybe not something you would normally do. But I have a vision. And this has been working for that particular vision, so I'm gonna keep doing it. This is just a stylistic choice. One that I have experimented with and tried many a different thing on before deciding that I like this. Because that's the kind of the funny thing about style. It's not actually super binary. You can draw in many different styles. I like drawing in many different styles. There is no one style, and I don't think it's reasonable. Or, you know, that's not a good way to put it. I think it's very possible for people to have multiple styles that they enjoy. And I do not feel the need to stick to one. There is no one singular my style. There is just whatever I feel like drawing today. And I will pick whatever style suits what I want to draw, and the idea that I'm trying to express. And right now what I'm going for is stained glass. And all these white lines kind of help that. Alright, fantastic. Gonna go ahead and add a couple of gradients. I think I really only need one though, just the one over here. Because over here is fine. Over here is fine. I just want a slightly darker spot at the bottom here. There we go. Okay, now I just have to do the weird decoration on her hat, but before I do that, I think it's time to go do some more flowers. I am determined to finish the flowers today. Well, no. I'm not determined to finish the flowers today. I am determined to kind of have them in a spot where I can finish them. Are you asking how many years I've been drawing, or how many years do you have to draw in order to get good? Because these are different questions. Oh boy, let's see here. I want to draw some flowers underneath here. We're gonna draw some little guys right over here. I do too. Drawing is pretty fantastic. That's why I'm over here drawing like all the time. Well, I can sit here and continue to draw even when no one's around. I like drawing for the internet too. Alright, I think that one looks okay. Let's see here. How do I want to tackle this just random blob of nonsense? Do you mean that you just draw from reference? Because that's pretty reasonable. Oh, I put it on a... Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you're happy with what you're drawing. Alright, and based on the random blob that I had, I see that I was drawing a big one over here, so I'll keep the big one. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to draw from imagination. And even when I do draw from imagination, like, this was not directly referencing any one particular picture, but I did have reference open to make sure that I knew what Yuyuko's clothes look like. I had an image open to even just now, so this way I would know what cherry blossoms look like. Because they actually did in fact look a little bit different from what I remember. And I used some references to help me with the hand and that kind of thing. So, I mean, even when you're drawing from imagination, it's pretty normal to look at reference for specific things. I'd say drawing from imagination is more like getting a collection of references and just kind of having an idea in your head and then smashing all those references that you can find into whatever your idea is and just putting it all together. I think I'm actually going to do this on a different layer. So here I'm not referencing, like, every blossom, but I did look up images of what cherry blossoms look like. So this way I could draw them accurately. And I see that they have 5 petals. And this kind of thing. Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? How can you draw something if you don't know what it looks like? It doesn't mean I'm tracing it or even directly copying it, but... Although, you know, I've even done photo studies before. So, those are directly copied. But yeah, for the most part, you know, references are just that. They're references. You open it up so this way you get an idea of what the thing you want to draw looks like, and then you go draw it. Yeah, and I mean, eventually, as you get comfortable with what you're doing, you'll be able to take those references and use them to help you draw the thing that you actually want to draw, as opposed to just exactly what you see. But there's nothing wrong with just drawing exactly what you see as if you're just getting started. I mean, even if you're not really. Studies like that are common. I do them sometimes too. I did one fairly recently, actually. I didn't post it because I didn't finish it, but I got what I wanted and decided to stop. Oh shoot, I forgot to turn my mirror tool back on. Oh, that's alright. Let's see, where did I leave off here? I will just cut off everything from here over. We'll delete this. Oops. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just here doing my best. I just like drawing. Don't gotta worry about it. Oops, no, I don't want to cut. I want to copy. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I can turn my mirror back on and carry on. Mistakes were made, but it's okay. I was able to fix it. Okay. Let's see, I'm gonna put a little guy just right here. Yeah, just a small one. You know, I didn't intend to draw it at that angle, but I dig it, so I'm gonna keep it. Mysterious little things like this happen all the time. Right, I just start drawing the thing and suddenly special things happen. I just want a couple of little guys here and there, and a couple of tiny little buds coming off the branch here. I think that'll look nice. I might actually go back and add a few more of those, because that's just what I need to do, add more stuff for me to draw later. Well, okay, I draw 4 days a week and I play a game 3 days a week. But yes, I am here every day. And I will be here at this time every day now. So this one is just gonna open up soon. This little guy can be hiding. Yes, this will be my new time from now on. I need to be awake at normal people hours, so I will just always be live at this time now. The old time is no more. I don't like him. I'm gonna make him a bud. He's just gonna be a little bud. Okay, let's just add a few more little buds here and there. I think that it's lacking in just tiny little guys. Alright. First pass on the flowers is complete. Huzzah. I don't think I have it in me to render them properly, so I'm gonna go back and work in the hat some more. Alright. So I already have everything kinda done. I think this one had its own. Yes, it did. Yep. What did I say? It was 5 p.m. UST. Not UST. Man, brain fart. I can't remember what it's called, but yes, whatever the UTC. There we go. There it is. UTC. So you can convert that into whatever your time zone is. 5 p.m. UTC. I'ma hide the fan since it overlaps a little bit and I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it like that. Oh yes, look up what 5 p.m. UTC is in your time zone and that will be when I am live. There we go. As always, if I find a thing that I don't quite like or I don't think I smoothed out quite correctly, I will just go in and fix it during this phase. And indeed, there are a few spots right around here that I don't like, so I will go and clean those up now that I see them. Gotta get everything nice and smooth now. This is the point where I'm finishing things. Alright, well there you go. So that's when I'll be here. I think I made this line a little bit too thick. Let's make that just a tad thinner. Just a tad. There we go. I am considering this a separate piece from everything else, so I will be making its outlines nice and thick. Even as I go into the hat here, they will stay nice and thick. Just like this, assuming I can get there we go. Okay. Now, I do already have a lot of the shadows and stuff drawn, so I think I can just safely use a slightly thinner line for those. Oh, that's still too thick. Let me... That is perfect. And I will erase on top of this little symbol there. But I think I will do that after I finish rendering the symbol, because I think I want this dark blue part that I'm putting around it to make the line a little bit more visible to be... or to not have the line covering it. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this line. This one I think I want to keep fairly thin. I don't want this one to be super thick. I want it to be not quite as thin as these ones on the hair, but maybe more like how I have it on the highlights. Indeed. I was doing stuff much earlier, but now I have to have a normal sleep schedule. So this is when I can do things now. My life has changed a little bit. My daughter will be starting school in a couple of months, so I needed to actually be awake when she's awake for that. It's very exciting. Yes, because before now I was going to bed at like 2 p.m. and waking up at 11 p.m. and that was great for a while. But if I did that now, I'd basically get my daughter up for school and then I'd be asleep by the time she got home from school, so I would just no longer be in her life, and I didn't want that. So I had to fix my sleep schedule so that this way I will still be awake when she is home from school. And we can still do stuff together. All right. How old is my daughter? She is 5 and will be 6 in September. And then I have a son who is 3. So my kids are still very little. Man. Lines are still very difficult for me to draw. I am so not used to line art. Normally I draw with no lines at all, just blobs of color. But this particular style demands lines, so I'm having to add lines in after the fact. More accurately, we design games together. The games he designs on his own, I don't typically help with. And anything that I want to design on my own, he doesn't necessarily help with. But then sometimes we do stuff together. I do many a things. This is where I continue to be sad that there are not enough hours in the day to do all the things I want. Life is hard. Nothing out there on the internet. So, wouldn't be something you're familiar with. We designed some silly things for, like, role-playing forums, but that's literally the only thing that's out there on the internet right now. Unfortunately, a lot of my past work has been lost to hard drive failure, so I'm still a little bit sad about that. But we haven't like sold anything or anything like that. It's largely a hobby. Hey, I'll be here every day. Always happy to chat. Okay, let's make this line nice. This one I want to be super ultra thin because literally the only reason it exists is to make the line on the hat stand out a little bit more. I didn't think it stood out enough when it was just this light color against the white of the hat. So I will be doing my best to keep this nice and thin. Just barely even noticeable, ideally. Oops. I accidentally got rid of my color there. One thing that I like to do is just get two colors and then press X to switch back and forth between them. It's easier than having to pick the color every time. And it looks like there's a couple of spots that I did not have this properly smooth. So I should go and fix those while I'm here. And it looks like I will indeed finish the hat today, so that makes me happy. That does make me happy. Yeah, go for it. Always happy to encourage people to make more stuff. Keep drawing, friend. The ways to do so will come to you. My process is a little different than what a lot of people do. It's very chaotic. But I like it lots. Right now you're seeing the sane part of it because I've largely made all the decisions. Now I just have to make it all look good. It is rendering time. So this is the point of the process where, you know, everything's down. And I just gotta come in and smooth everything out, make it all look nice, get everything into its final state. And then all will be well. But it does take a while. It's kind of slow. I do not have this locked, which is actually a problem. Definitely do not want to be coloring outside the lines here. Well, yeah, if there's ever anything you're curious about on when it comes to my process or just what I'm doing, don't hesitate to ask. Or even if you just want to talk about something else, I can talk about something else too. But art is great, and I'm always happy to be doing more. But at some point, I'd also like to maybe do some programming streams. That seems like it could be fun too. I've been wanting to look into how to do some procedural generation, so I was thinking about digging through the source code of some games that have it, because I think there's some open source ones that have good procedural generation. Okay, so what I'm doing with my lines here is generally not what you want to be doing if you're doing line art. Because I'm doing something different. I do not normally use line art at all. in my drawings, but here I am deliberately trying to make my image look more like stained glass, which I do think is better done with some outlines. But when it comes to line art, I actually think it's better if you're using traditional line art to not make the lines the same size. Typically, you want them to be a little bit thicker where things would be a little bit darker, so you might use a thicker line under the chin, for example. But what I'm doing is basically nonsense. I'm just going for something very specific stylistically. I think I want this shadow to be a little bit shorter. I don't like that it's running right up against the hat. Most people do, yes. I do not. I do something different. If you look at any of my past work, you'll see, for the most part, I have no lines. No lines whatsoever. Working with line just never really worked, just never really clicked for me, so I didn't do it. I found a different method to make what I like. And even this, I did not start with like a lined sketch. If you watch part 1 of this series in my VODs, I have a playlist for it on my channel. You can see how I went about it. There was no line art done. Just blobs of color, and that is how I work. That's why I say my process is a little bit different from most people. Alright, I think that is the entirety of her head done now. So, do I want to go into flowers right now? I don't think I do. I guess I can at least pick a line color and start getting the start of some lines here. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Like, I know how most people tend to work. My process is just different. And I know that most people use line art, but I do not. Alright, let's pick a good line color. Actually, I already have one because I forget that I used the same color for those flowers as I did her hair. So I can just do that. I can just use the same one. Cool. Alright, let's start putting some stuff on the flowers here. Oh man, this is gonna be pain. Alright, time to go for the messy first step. Kinda get everything where I want it before I go for a more controlled cleanup later. Get some around all these little guys, and oh man, and now that I look at everything, I see how messy I was. You know, in that case, I probably shouldn't be doing lines yet. Okay, too soon. If I want to do more with the flowers, it'd be time to clean up, and I am so not ready for that. So, let's go look at her fan. I will do that later. So, big thing that was bothering me about her fan here is that I think that these parts are a little bit too long. So I'm going to be taking these and I'm going to tuck them in a little. And I just push it on up here. And I will just do it piece by piece. I want to make it look like this part of the fan is behind this part. and that it's kind of going into the background. So I need these parts to be closer together. And it's okay that I'm kind of breaking things apart. It's all good. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Alright, that already looks a lot better. So let's do it in a couple of other key places here. There we go. Alright. Now I can just make these shadow shapes sharper and like that, and I think that is pretty good. That is much more doing what I want now. Yeah, I'm pretty slow too. I know that feel. I am quite slow at drawing. I get the feeling that I will always be on the slower end, but you know, that's okay. I get it done. I've been practicing being a little bit faster, but it's very much a skill that I'm still trying to develop. It takes practice. Okay, so now everything here is complete nonsense, but you know, I think it is a fairly okay level of nonsense. Yes, I think this will be fine. I'll have to clean up the thumb a bit, but that is also fine. Alright. Let's see, shadows here. So the way I have it is I want this stick to be behind this stick. So that means that the shadow from this will be on top of that. Kinda like this. Gotta make sure I get the angle right. This stick is underneath this one. So there will be a shadow here, separating them. This one will come all the way down to the bottom part of its stick here, which I want to move a little bit. I want it to curve, follow the flow of the fan a little bit more closely. I'm not going to worry about it under there quite so much. Okay, then we have this one, and this stick will be on top of this one. So I'll have a line over here, and then this stick will be on top of this one, so it'll come over here, and we will not see very much of the bottommost stick. Dimensions, I forget. Let me check. Width is 3,100 pixels. Height is 3,450. I draw pretty large. I like being able to post things in pretty high res. Okay, that should be about where I want it, and I think that looks fine. I don't know how much RAM it takes. I have a very strong computer, so I don't normally think about these things. My computer can handle pretty much anything I throw at it. I think the only time it chugged is when I was trying to stream Infinity Nikki. Because that game is Poorly optimized. I don't know. I am not too familiar with a lot of the technical aspects of this. I never looked into it much. With Krita being an open source program, if you need help, I'm sure that you can go to their help pages or their community forums and whatnot and get some support there. And maybe they can help you with what you're having trouble with. But I have never really had performance problems. But like I said, my computer is absurd, so... Don't know the specs off the top of my head, but they're pretty good. Alright, and I think once I kinda get the outline of this fan done, that'll probably be where I stop for today. And I'm pretty happy with my progress. We got her head done. And I have the start of all the flowers drawn. Next time I can render them out a little bit more. And hopefully I'll just be able to finish the whole drawing soon. But I will definitely want to zoom out and take a final look at the end here, because I am just really happy with how all this is coming out. I really like this style. I think it's super pretty. Looks very mythic to me, and that's what I was going for, so I am glad that it is working out as intended. And I will reattach the sticks too. I just knew that I wanted to change the size of this a little bit. And I want this to be a little bit thicker. We do not see very much of the back side of this one. Outer space. It's great. The stars are wonderful. They're so pretty. I need to draw more space-related things. I always like doing that, but I haven't drawn anything like that recently. Let's see, I do not have this drawn quite the way I want it. It's supposed to be more like this, yes. Because this guy is further behind. And this should be perfect. So they're all kind of together at the top here, and then later they kind of start receding further into the back. And I think that this kind of effect really sells that. Not sure what you mean, but if it's just cleaning up the art, then yes, I do try to make I think my styles are fairly clean. But I am not sure about, like, anything called that specifically. I'm gonna hide her thumb again for a little bit so that this way I can fix up the bottom of the fan here. There we go. And now I reattach this wooden part. And I think that is pretty good. Okay. So there we go. This is how things are looking now. I am pretty happy with it. Her fan will have a pattern on it eventually, but I haven't drawn it yet. I'm not quite sure how I want it to look. I will figure that out, but I think that this is where I will stop for today. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.